Good afternoon. I'm Shawn Yao, and this is One News Now. Senators are calling for an investigation into the red tagging of community pantry organizers by some police officers and members of the NTF-ELCAC. For the details, Man Baños joins us live from Mandaluyong City. Hi, Man. Good afternoon. What did senators have to say on the issue of red tagging community pantry leaders?
Hi, Sean. Good afternoon. At least 8 senators are calling on the Armed Forces of the Philippines and Philippine National Police to investigate the supposed profiling and red tagging on some of the community pantry organizers. They are Senate President Pro Tempore Ralph Recto and Minority Leader Franklin Drilon, as well as Senators Nancy Binay, Grace Poe, Sherwin Gatchalian, Risa Ontiveros, Kiko Pangilinan, and Laila de Lima. They also condemned the posts of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-ELCAC, on social media. The lawmakers said the profiling of organizers of community pantries must stop because it puts people's lives in danger, especially with some police and military officers known to be notorious in red tagging progressives. And now civic-minded citizens who only want to do good for members of their communities during the health crisis. Senators explained that community pantries have offered a venue for showing the true Bayanihan spirit. Thus, it's deplorable to paint the initiative with suspicion of communist links. Senator Binay, meanwhile, stressed that the problem is hunger, and these relief efforts by private citizens should in fact be encouraged. Senator Recta said those who see red in these Bayanihan projects should have their hearts examined. Senate President Tito Soto, for his part, has appealed to officials to not make it difficult for those who just want to help. Some lawmakers reiterated the role of the government in these private initiatives is only to ensure peace and order, as well as the observance of health protocols against COVID-19. Sean?
All right, Man, one question. What is the end goal of this probe if it does happen? Is there going to be legislation protecting community leaders, such as those that organize community pantries?
Just to be clear, it is not the senators aren't calling for their own investigation or inquiry on the matter, but they're calling on the PNP and AFP to do their own inquiry on the matter. And maybe the end goal would be the Senate asking for a report from AFP and PNP, and to make sure that what they're doing is just to make sure that there is peace and order in the community pantries and nothing else. Sean?
All right, great news. Thank you for giving us that update. That was Manlas Baños joining us live from Mandaluyong City. The NTF-ELCAC once again denied that they are investigating organizers of the Maginhawa Community Pantry for alleged links to communist groups. In a press conference today, Vice Chairman Hermogenes Esperon Jr. said that they are just observing the pantries that have also started to emerge in other areas across the country. Esperon said they won't be stopping organizers from putting up community pantries as long as they don't have a different agenda. The NTF-ELCAC has been widely criticized for red tagging Ana Patricia Non and other community pantry organizers in its official Facebook page.
We, of course, encourage community works and community Bayanihan projects, but we also look into the organizers, especially if they advertise their organizations, that would be traced to the legal fronts or the front organizations of the CPP and PA. Nothing is conclusive yet, but we would like, suffice to say that we would like to encourage these kinds of community-based self-help community projects. But we, of course, would also like to look into possible participation of personalities that may have other agenda that may tend to turn these projects into some for political and agitation purposes.
Okay.
That's all there is to it. Otherwise, we encourage it. We would even contribute to that.
And here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. says the government is looking at buying Moderna booster shots instead of procuring additional COVID-19 jabs. Galvez explained that the booster shot, which is still in early stage trials abroad, can be used alongside any other vaccine brand. The United States has strongly advised its citizens against traveling to the Philippines because of the high level of COVID-19 in the country. The U.S. Department of State issued an updated list of the Level 4 do not travel restriction upon the recommendation of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or US CDC. And President Duterte is appealing to senators to give Executive Order 128 a chance. Palace spokesman Harry Roque said that the president has asked senators to wait at least 2 months to see the impact of the EO on the local hog industry. Senators are set to file a joint resolution seeking to revoke the EO, which reduces tariffs on imported pork. We'll have more stories after this quick break. Stay with us. You are still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Transport authorities are still coming up with ways to ensure the safety of cyclists on the roads. Gerard De La Peña joins us live from Mandaluyong City for more details. Hi, Gerard. What is the latest move of the DOTR with regard to cyclists?
Well, Sean, the Department of Transportation has made a partnership with the private sector to ensure safety of cyclists. This as bicycles have become a cheaper and more convenient option for commuting now that we are still in the middle of a pandemic. Now, the SM Group and the DOTR have released a manual containing road etiquette for cyclists. Department of Health Director Beverly Ho backed this, saying this mode of transportation promotes healthier lifestyle in general while preventing the spread of COVID-19 among commuters. Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade said, a network of bike lanes is already underway and is seen to prosper even when we get back to normal. The DOTR said the network of bike lanes is expected to reach 535 kilometers by year end. This will be spread out across Metro Manila, Cebu, and Davao. The bike lanes will also connect to those already constructed by local government units. For its part, the Metro Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, said bike lanes have not affected traffic flow so far, especially along EDSA. With this, the MMDA is also in the process of procuring bikes for its bike-sharing program, which will be spread out across 30 stations along EDSA. Sean, road safety advocates are happy with the initiative, but they said that those driving motorized vehicles should also cooperate to ensure road safety for everyone. Sean.
Thank you for that update. Stay safe out there. That was Gerard De La Peña of News 5 joining us live from Mandaluyong. Experts are seeing a decrease in COVID-19 transmission in countries that are in the middle of their vaccination drives. Johns Hopkins scholar Dr. Amesh Adalja discusses that in this video from Bloomberg.
The differential here seems to be the United Kingdom doing well, the United States doing well, and the news out of India and the Philippines is just absolutely grim. Should we get used to this new polarity?
Definitely. I think most of us were expecting this to be the case as different countries had different vaccine rollout timescales, and we've seen these more contagious variants take off in certain countries. And if you don't have a vaccine to basically stay ahead of them or to staunch their impact, you're going to go back to where you were, what we saw in the bad old days of winter or the spring. So many countries are not going to have this controlled well into 2022, and that's why you saw, for example, the State Department increasing to about 80% the number of countries where there is there's a travel advisory saying do not go to this country. That's going to be the case until vaccine is in place in those individual locations.
What's the latest on transmission for people who have been vaccinated? In other words, whether they can actually pass the virus on to other people?
The data that we've accumulated so far shows this to be extremely rare. It doesn't mean zero, but it's extremely rare and something I think people could be comfortable with in terms of not having to worry about being a carrier of this virus. Certainly, if there's an outbreak, you're not going to be looking at the vaccinated people to say, were they the ones that actually spread this? It's going to take some time for public health guidance to catch up. That's why we still have pretty conservative guidance for what vaccinated people can safely do. But to me, I think in terms of risk tolerance, I'm not worried about vaccinated people spreading this virus. And I tell people to go back to their life as much as possible once they've been fully vaccinated. I seem to be a little bit ahead of some of my colleagues on this, but that's how I think these vaccines are working. And we have real world data from many countries like Israel that show that transmission does go down. And there's even data from Pfizer that it's very hard to even be infected if you're fully vaccinated. So I do think they decrease spread as well as serious illness, hospitalization, and death.
Dr. Adalja, based on this two-tier inoculation schedule where much of the world is way behind the United States and the United Kingdom and Israel, how quickly can we see international travel pick back up?
It's going to be something that takes some time. There are going to be countries that have the ability to travel between each other easily without much friction, I suspect, like the United States, United Kingdom, United States, Israel, the Seychelles Islands, Bhutan, all those places that have got very, very high vaccination rates. But even for the United States and Canada, it's going to be some time. What will likely happen is vaccinated individuals may still have to quarantine or get a test before they go into those countries, and likely the same on the return back to the United States, even if they're vaccinated. So it's probably into 2022 before the world has some semblance of normalcy in terms of international travel, meaning all countries. There's going to be kind of green zones where vaccine uptake is high that make it very easy to go to, but other parts are going to be difficult, including places as close as Canada.
For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.